Good morning, everyone. Welcome to my slightly messy room. I just haven't had a chance to clean it all up yet, but I thought this video would be a really good idea. My friend Sarah mentioned it to me when she saw that I had done a little bit of a market shop at the Paran markets yesterday, so I'm gonna have to go back in time to a clip of everything that I got. But if you're a Melbourne local, I go to the Paran market sometimes, and it used to be a $15 box, but I don't know what's kind of happened with the affordability stuff, but now it's a $35 box at this place called Pino's Produce. And we'll just call it inflation, but it is a really good value box. And I popped down there pretty late on Sunday afternoon, and Jazz and I were just going for a walk around the area, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna buy it. I hadn't done my groceries yet, and I thought it's always a good challenge because the ingredients are a little bit mixed, and I really wanted to come up with some new recipes and also try and save money, because if I'm getting all of those veggies and fruit and things a lot cheaper than I would pay at the supermarket, and they're also much nicer kind of organic farm produce, then it's going to be really a good value. So I did kind of have a question in mind, but I'll roll the clip and then we can chat about it after, so you know everything that I got in the box. This is everything that I got, and I actually still think it's really good value, but I'm kind of tempted to pop it in a Woolies online order and see what it would be worth. But I've got some sweet potatoes here, got some beetroot, there's mushrooms, although I wish there was a couple more mushrooms, that would have been handy. There's a big cos lettuce, about 6 bananas, got 2 big zucchinis over the back and some grapes. There is half a red cabbage and cauliflower. I've got apples, nectarines, which these are a bit hard, I think, so they'll probably need to go next to the bananas to ripen up a little bit. 2 little red capsicums, some carrot, a corn, some really cool looking asparagus. It's like very long and skinny, and I actually really like asparagus, so I think that'll be really yummy to cook up. Got a big rock melon, a whole thing of celery, some oranges, which have been really nice this season, a couple of potatoes, and some kale. So it's Monday now, and it is the beginning of the week, so I need to figure out all of the meal ideas that I'm going to do. But something that I did last night after I got that box, when I was sitting there figuring it all out, was I went to Woolworths online and I popped in all of the different things I got, whether it was the kale bunch, the celery bunch, apples, like specifically how many, and I typed it all in, and the grand total from the $35 box that came back was $62. So it was literally almost half price for purchasing from the markets, and that was really, really good. And then I thought, you know what, I need to sit down and write out all of the meal ideas that I could possibly make from these ingredients, because unless I kind of figure that out, I'm not going to know what to do with everything. So let's take a pen and paper now, and then I'll let you know what I come up with. So to start off with, I actually wrote down all of the ingredients that were in the box. So what we got was a kale bunch, a celery bunch, some thin asparagus, a rock melon, green grapes, oranges, apples, and nectarines, some bananas, a couple of mushrooms, although I wish there was more because there was literally only 4 or 5 of those, cos lettuce, beetroot, red cabbage, a cauliflower, zucchini, carrots, corn, sweet potato, regular potatoes, red capsicum. So that was everything that was in the box. And what I would normally do with this is either think of things off the top of my head, or I'll jump onto Pinterest and have a look at a couple of different meal ideas that might involve that ingredient, or I'll even just search online. There's a website called Half Baked Harvest that I really, really love. And sometimes I'll just type in like zucchini, and then it will say zucchini fritters and give you the most incredible recipes. So that is the next little bit that I came up with. And now I have a couple of really nice meal ideas. So from that little list of ingredients, I came up with the following. So for my breakfast, you guys know I often have smoothies, and that's just a super easy light breakfast for me after the gym. I'll just throw in a shot of coffee and a little bit of protein. So I thought with all of the bananas that was there, I could make like a banana bread or something, but I actually don't have a good recipe for banana bread because it's not something I've made too often. So if you do, please leave it in the comments below and I'll absolutely try that next time. But this time I thought I would use them for for a banana cacao smoothie because that's just an absolute staple for me, and it means I'll definitely use all of those bananas. The next thing I came up with, I thought was a pretty creative one, and it's a celery and potato soup. So using that entire bunch of celery, you even use the leaves for garnish, so none of it at all goes to waste. And those potatoes, I wasn't quite sure what I'd do because I often have sweet potato instead of white. So that will be absolutely perfect for a really yummy soup, especially because it's actually started to get really cold in Melbourne. It was 10 degrees yesterday, so I'm just gonna leave that there. I also did look up zucchini patties, like I said before, because that's something I haven't made for ages, and I actually think that would be really, really delicious and a nice lunch idea, but also something you can kind of batch prepare and then pop into the fridge or freezer and bring them down as you want. So that is also another aim of this video. I want to just do like a whole bunch of batch cooking and meal prep so that things are already good to go in the fridge and I can just easily grab them out. I kind of thought I would be less busy working for myself, but I feel like that was just an absolute illusion and I'm working more than ever. So if any of you own small businesses, I'm sure you probably already knew this, but I just thought it would be much more flexible. But at the moment, I'm actively out there trying to get leads and winning work whilst also doing all of the other work, and it's making me a little bit time poor. So anything I can do to try and save money but also save time is really, really high on my priority list. But I actually am meeting another builder this afternoon, which will be really good. They do some incredible houses around the Bayside kind of area in Melbourne, and they are looking for an architect. And the other fun thing is later today, I'm actually filming for a TV show. So I've never been on a TV set before. I've definitely never had like a TV camera in my face. I don't even know how it works. I've never even seen a studio. So I know I have the camera in my face 24/7 doing YouTube stuff, but that's totally different because that's just me and you guys. So I am interested to see how it goes. I'm feeling a little bit nervous, but when it does come out, I think in a week or two, I will update you all and pop the link in a video or do some clips or something so that you can see the little segment that I filmed. But basically I am going to be the architect on a property show panel. So yeah, crazy. Just a really exciting opportunity. But getting back into these, the other thing, my mum actually sent me this after she saw my food box, and that was to make cauliflower cheese steaks. And I know I've just said cheese, but I use lactose free cheese for any of my lactose intolerant people out there. And the cauliflower steaks is an absolutely amazing idea. You just kind of put paprika and a couple of things on them and pop them in the oven. So yet again, super cool and healthy idea. I want to make some beetroot brownies, and I do have a great recipe for this that I've made in the past, and it's kind of just like a healthier alternative to making a brownie, but I will make them gluten-free so that Jazz can eat them as well. So I've gone and purchased some gluten-free flour because I actually didn't have that. I will also make a salad with a couple of those salady ingredients like the carrot and lettuce and things like that, and with some baked sweet potato in the oven. I want to make a yummy fruit salad with all of the fruit that I can again just portion off when I'm hungry. I'll make some oven baked kale chips, which I actually think are super delicious, and to be fair, probably the only way I would really eat kale. I don't necessarily like it in a salad and that kind of thing, and I've also been told that you have to be careful about the amount of kale you eat. I don't know if anyone else has heard that, but I think because it's such a like deep green cruciferous vegetable, it can be a little bit hard on your kidneys. And because I have had interstitial cystitis and a bladder condition that can flare up from time to time, I have to be really, really careful with anything that's going to put too much strain on any of that sort of area of my body. But the last thing I'm going to make is just one of my classic go-to healthy meals, and that is salmon with rice and asparagus. But I really liked that asparagus because it was super thin and really interesting looking. So anyway, let's go and make the breakfast smoothie, and then I'll bring you along for my full day of cooking and meal prep using all of the ingredients from the market box. First thing I'm going to make using some of the ingredients is a classic banana smoothie for breakfast, and this is one of my favorite quick and easy meals because it is super healthy, full of lots of ingredients and a little bit of protein after a workout. So I've got the raw protein Slim and Tone in the vanilla cinnamon flavor, some organic almond milk, I've got ice, the banana from my veggie box, I've got cacao powder, and this Pick Smooth peanut butter. Something I also like to add into this is a shot of coffee, so that's probably how I'll end up making it. Also, how gorgeous is this beautiful little kitchen styling setup? I actually snapped this branch off a tree in the local park when I was on my walk this morning, and I'm hoping Mother Nature doesn't mind too much, but it was a really luscious and healthy tree, and I just thought what a gorgeous piece to style in this vase over the back of my sink there. So if you're not following me on Instagram, you should. It is emma.caitlain, and I did a little reel showing how I kind of styled this up, and I just think it's such an earthy touch and a beautiful vibrant green, and it literally cost me nothing. As you guys know, I'm not vegan or vegetarian, so I did need to pop down to Woolworths and grab a couple of extra ingredients to make these meals work, and this is everything else that I got and the sort of rough prices. So I got 2 medallion steaks, that was $12. I also got some salmon portions, that was $13 for 2. I got some grated parmesan, which I think is for the zucchini fritter recipe. I also got some basmati rice in the whole grain one. I bought some passion fruit pulp in a little tin just to throw through the fruit salad, and that's simply just because passion fruits cost a fortune, and this is an easier way without having to scoop out heaps of them to get the same amount. I also got some light sour cream for the fritters, and this is a lactose-free one, which is really great. I got some fresh parsley to go with a couple of the recipes, and also some chives. So that is all of the extra stuff that I got, as well as the gluten-free flour. This is the one I found. It's gluten-free plain flour, and I also got some Whittaker's oat milk chocolate, which is a plant-based one to do the brownies with. So super handy as well, because it was the perfect size. It's 250 grams, and I think I needed 200 for the recipe. And I just didn't know you could get some really nice plant-based chocolate. It's normally kind of just that gross stuff in the health food aisle. So really happy with all of those extra ingredients I found. Okay, first up, I'm gonna make the fruit salad because I actually wouldn't mind eating some of this as a little bit of a mid-morning snack, and it's kind of one of the easiest things to do. So let's get chopping. In terms of value for money, that just made so much fruit salad. I actually had no idea it was going to make that much of a huge bowl of it, but I'll show you what I've got. And now I'm just going to portion it out a little bit. I'll make myself a little bowl now, and then I'm going to pop the rest in the fridge and just cover it in Glad wrap. This is my huge bowl of fruit salad. There is so much yummy stuff in here, and you would have also seen me just squeeze in some lemon as a little bit of a natural preservative so it all stays nice and fresh as well. But this bowl is absolutely massive, and I have made a little bit of a mess, so I'm just going to pop this in the fridge and then I'll clean up the bench as well. This is going to be a whole day of cooking, by the way, just in case you guys are wondering, because sometimes when I do the videos I probably don't show too much of like the steps or the cooking or whatever, and I actually really love cooking. I feel like lockdown, where there was absolutely nothing else to do, just got me so much back into making really creative recipes, but also just knowing how to do them well, and sometimes just from up here. So this is a super simple one. It is a celery and potato soup. So I'll show you the ingredients now that I've grabbed out. This is everything I've got. There is some sea salt, pepper, the potatoes from the market, celery from the market. I already had that vegetable stock in the fridge, which is good because I can finally use it. I've got 1 brown onion and some crushed garlic. Maybe you're the person who gets the fresh garlic and crushes it yourself, and that's probably because you're better than me, but I'm lazy, so I'm going to use the bottled stuff.
How come the stars come to shine when it's dark from so far away? Show us where we are. What makes the sun go to sleep?
While that's cooking, I just grabbed the kale bunch out from the fridge, and I thought I would make the kale chips because they are super quick and easy. All you need is kale, some salt, I'm using this iodized sea salt, and some olive oil. So I'm going to chop that up, and then I'll massage through the olive oil and the salt, and then they can bake in the oven. Kale chips are ready to go, so I've just spread them out as much as I can on the tray. They are coated in the olive oil and salt, and I'm just popping them in the oven for 10 to 12 minutes on 200 degrees. The soup is finished cooking, and apparently the recipe said what gives it the really vibrant green color is blending in some fresh herbs like parsley. So now that that's finished cooking, I had it basically on high and then simmering for around 10 minutes to make sure the potatoes cooked. And now I'm going to put this whole bunch of parsley in there, and then I will blend it up with a stick blender. So both the kale chips and the soup are now ready, and I'm gonna snack on a couple of the kale chips, but then I will put them away. And I also blended up that beautiful soup, so I'll give that a little taste test and then pop it in some containers as well. Next up, we've got the cauliflower steaks. So I've actually already chopped these up into 1-inch thick little slabs, and I managed to get 3. And then it's said to season them with paprika, garlic powder, and coriander, and then you also kind of brush on some olive oil. But I actually can't find my kitchen brush, the little silicone brush thing, so I'm just gonna have to do it with my hand. But that's all ready to go, and then you bake them in the oven for 20 minutes on 200 degrees Celsius. Seasoning is all done on the cauliflower steaks, and now I'm gonna pop them into the oven. If you're thinking I missed a step by not adding the cheese, you are not wrong, but I actually am not gonna eat that right now, so I thought it might be better if I just meal prep the cauliflower steaks, and then I can reheat them and just like microwave the cheese on, or put them under the griller and put the cheese on, and that means it'll be a little bit fresher and tastier when I actually want to eat them, instead of kind of cooking it all on there now. And that is the cauliflower steaks all done. They look absolutely delicious, and I definitely can't wait to try them. Moving on, it's time to make the beetroot brownies, and I've got all of the beets over there. Then I've got some butter, vanilla extract, 3 eggs, my chocolate, which is 250 grams, but you only need 200. I've got the caster sugar, some cacao powder, and the gluten-free powder. And I've also just lined a tray with some baking paper. So let's get that all prepped now. So this is 100 grams of butter, the 200 grams of chocolate, and the vanilla extract all popped into here. And then I'm going to add the beetroot, which I've cubed and then popped into the microwave to cook. And once that is tenderized and a little bit soft, I'm gonna pop it in here and give it all a whiz, and that will be my mixture. The next step is to put the eggs and caster sugar in a bowl, and I would obviously use a different bowl if I was gonna do an electric hand mixer, but I actually don't have one of those, so I'm just gonna hand mix it. And once that's done, we can tip in this, which I know it looks gross at this stage, but bear with me. This is the melted chocolate, beetroot, and vanilla extract, and that's gonna all get mixed together to make the batter. I've now added in 100 grams of the gluten-free flour, which I'm going to mix together, and I also popped in the cacao powder, and then all of this is going to go in the baking tray and then into the oven for 25 minutes. That's the brownie mix all in the tray and ready to go in the oven. So that will go in for around about 25 minutes, or until you can kind of see that it's getting a bit of a crust, it looks properly baked through, which you can always check with a knife or something if you're not that sure. And then once it's out, I'll just chop it up into some cubes, and that can be a little treat for the week. Here is the brownie fresh out of the oven, and that looks pretty good considering it is with beetroot and the gluten-free flour. It still rose really, really nicely. That's the most important thing when you're kind of mixing it, to really like aerate it with the fork, or obviously with an electric mixer if you happen to have one, just so that it actually does rise. But I'm gonna leave that to cool, and then I can slice it up. That's everything for this video. It's been a really big long day of cooking, and I also still need to make my dinner later as well, which is gonna be the salmon, rice, and asparagus. So I'll pop a couple of clips in of that, but I hope you guys really enjoyed coming along with me and seeing what I did with the $35 box of veggies from the market. I think it was a really, really good challenge, and I'm sorry I didn't get to show you the zucchini fritters as well, but I just could not be bothered doing a whole other thing. But there is a really good recipe for those, so I will pop it in the description box down below, and I'll probably get on to making those tomorrow. But my fridge is fully stocked with the kale chips, the soup, the beautiful big fruit salad, those brownies, the steaks, everything you could possibly imagine, and so many really interesting, tasty recipes that I either haven't had for ages or I've just simply never made. So I hope that gave you guys a couple of really good fresh ideas, and I'll actually try and link a lot of the recipes that I used in the description box as well, because I know you're probably going to want to know specifically which one I used. So if I can and I remember, I will pop them all down there, but if not, just remind me in the comments and I'll make sure I update the description box. But thank you guys for watching, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a big thumbs up. Tonight I'm making some dinner using 2 of the ingredients and 2 things I bought. I've got the green asparagus in its long skinny form. I bought some basmati rice. I have some salmon portions and a couple of the mushrooms from the box. So I'm going to cook this up into a nice and simple healthy dinner. I've just used these 2 seasonings and some salt on top of the salmon, and I'm going to drizzle it with olive oil and cook it up.